Today we're talking about meeting rooms and how not to mess them up. Hey everyone, and welcome back. So today we are talking about meeting rooms and how to make them perfect to help your team be the most productive and creative and collaborative as possible. Number one is chairs. This chair, for example, it's much too low, the angle is much too laid back. This is the kind of chair that you take and sit and enjoy in during your coffee break when you're having a catch-up with your colleagues. Now this is the perfect chair. It's high enough so that you can get up to table height so that you can take your notes. At the same time, it has enough of a 90-degree angle bend so that you're not leaning back too far and you're not too lethargic, you're staying attentive. At the same time, the back of the chair has enough give to make it comfortable in meetings for situations when you're not actively involved in the conversation. You can sit back and ponder what's being said. So this chair, perfect Goldilocks area. The next is lighting. Super important. There essentially can never be too much lighting in a meeting room. But there are some things that you need to keep in mind. First of all, the warmth of the bulbs and of the light. You want it to be a bright white rather than a yellow, because that will keep people more awake. You also want it to be bright enough. So make sure that you have enough watts and you're not dimming. Otherwise, you run the risk of people feeling sleepy. Then we move on to technologies. Yes, a meeting room is a space, but you do increase your collaborative opportunities when you have the right technologies in place. In this case, we have a huge screen. Another thing you'll notice is that we have a webcam looking at the table, as well as a speaker built into the table. Now, those are the technologies that we use to really involve those remote employees or maybe clients that are in a different country because, hey, we live in a global world. That way, we're able to make sure that everyone's feeling involved regardless of where they are on the earth. Another great tool to have on hand is a whiteboard. Why? Because it helps you collaborate and brainstorm together in a format that everyone can see. Or in our case, we have a flip chart. It doesn't really matter, but somewhere where you have markers on hand and make sure to check them out and make sure that they're still working. There's nothing worse than a marker that's dried up. Have something at the ready that you can doodle on, that you can scribble on, that you can note some ideas so that everyone can get involved in the brainstorming process. And now we will draw the only thing I know how to draw, which is something my Uncle Alan taught me when I was 5. So you start with a circle and a little man in a lemonade pool. Then he goes in search for his friend and he travels over high hills. And then he sees a sun coming out. And then when he falls down, he finds man's best friend. It's a dog! Yodelay-hee-hoo. As you can hear, this room has insane acoustics. And not only is it bad for video, as I'm sure you can tell, but it's also pretty terrible for meetings. So this room, as possibly your meeting room as well, would benefit from some echo treatment, something that dampens the sound, a sound softener. And the way you can do that is essentially through textiles. Yes, there are professional mats, but you can also do things easier. Things like drapes, putting up drapes up against hard walls, mats and rugs and that sort of thing. So there are totally lots of different options and I highly recommend giving those a try. Next we have greenery. So important to not only keep the quality of air as good as possible. We do know that greenery secretes oxygen and absorbs carbon dioxide and therefore makes sure that everyone is breathing healthy, fresh air, which is important for concentration. But also, it's been proven that greenery makes people happier. It increases their mood, they feel better, they feel more comfortable, they feel more relaxed. Put in a few plants in your office and see the benefits. Then we come to temperature. This is so important for focus because otherwise people won't be able to engage in the topic at hand. So what you do want to do is make sure that you are taking a look at what temperature it is in your room and making sure that it is in that comfortable zone between 20 to 23 degrees, which we would consider room temperature. It differs for everyone, but this would be ideal. And then we come to organization. It's so helpful when you have everything at arm's reach reach when you need it. So for example, having some pens at the ready, some paper so that people can quickly note down some ideas when those come to them. Other things like making sure you have the markers at your whiteboard ready, or that you have the cleaning detergent to wipe off any whiteboards. So making sure that the stuff that you need is available and in that meeting room. That's something that you can do maybe once a week, maybe more or less, depending on how much you use it, but it will make all the difference in the experience to make sure that people are really working at their maximum capacity. So there you have it. Those are our tips for making your meeting room as collaborative, creative, and focus-filled as possible to maximize your and your team's productivity. Did we miss anything? Please comment your suggestions. What do you do at your office? And make sure to subscribe to this channel for more awesome productivity tips. See you next time.